This is how we'll be making the electro pickups for the coaches. I've just made little brass bushes and they'll just slide over. Now the idea is have a piece of plastic holding these two at the right angle, and then I need to insulate the insides. Next, I've taken some styrene card, cut it to size, just laid them on the what's going on with the focus, just laid them on the brass bushes we've cut earlier. Adhesive that I've used is epoxy resin, and just a glob and light the styrene down. Once this is dry, we'll take it out, flip it out, take out the wheels and do a bit of a decent glue down, and then start wiring in or soldering in pickup wires and that sort of thing. Actually taken that blue hard wire, stripped it on one end, stripped it on another end, soldered on both sides and just fed it through. So oops, excuse me guys, so that side's pickup and that side's pickup, and then I've just fed them both through and they'll hopefully power our light cars. Now I can hear a lot of you asking what the purpose of these things are. All they do is they store a little bit of power, so when there's a break in the circuit or the wheels aren't making decent contact, they just discharge a little bit of reserve power and they make sure that you don't have that flickering effect. So the minute you have that stop go contact, this thing picks up power, releases power, picks up power, releases power, so that gives you a bit of a constant run of power. These ones can probably effectively re-energize 3 LEDs at a go. I'm going to use an LED strip and see how we go with that, because I don't want to just use 3 LEDs. Important thing to note, the voltage on these should always be more, or a lot more than what you currently have available in case of voltage spikes. So a DCC system, we're looking at 16 volts, so it's always better to go 25 or 35 on DCC. Yeah, these little buggers, the bridge rectifiers, DCC or DC, you've got to swap in polarity, and the capacitor cannot handle that. The capacitor only wants negative input there and only positive input there. It cannot alternate. So the minute you got a change in polarity, or your locomotive goes backwards, or whatever the case, this will blow. The same with DCC, that's a pulsing system. The capacitor can't handle that. So all the bridge rectifier does, it takes the pulse in, swaps it around, and it makes sure that only negative come out the one side and only positive come out the other side. And that's how your capacitor interprets it, whether it's positive or negative. Positive or negative in here, it's only positive that side and negative on that side. For the LED lights themselves, I'm going to use a roll like this. I've chosen the color warm white. I always like the warm white. I don't like the bright white, it just looks unnatural. So I just had to put this in a bit of a clamp there because it was kept on rolling around. Okay, so what needs to happen now is this little bridge rectifier thing, the positive needs to go onto the positive right there. So he goes right onto the positive on that side. Ooh, I can actually feel the heat in the little IC chip when I soldered that. Be careful of that, guys, that's not good. Okay, so I'm just gonna flip this a little bit around. Okay, so the little negative on the little chip, that leg goes over to the negative of the capacitor. Negatives on negative, positives on positive. Easy, hey? Okay. Beauty. Now, this contraption, this positive and negative doesn't matter here, guys. Remember, we're running DCC, so we got a pulse which is alternating current the whole time, so positive and negative doesn't matter. This little chip's going to take the positive, it's going to take the negative, filter it out and send positive through one gate and negative through the other gate, regardless where it comes into. Okay, so it's a very unneat soldering that I'm doing here, but the rest of the ones I'll tidy up, and I'll probably tidy this up after the video. I just want to give you guys an idea of how quick and easy and cheap it is to do the coach lighting. So the one leg and the chip goes to the one pickup wire, the other one goes to the other pickup wire, and that's done, guys. That's your coach lighting done. So as you can see, the wheels are picking up, the wheels are not picking up. I'm going to move the battery to the front, and I'm taking the battery off. That's still glowing, guys. That's still, for its purposes, glowing, battery off. On, off. So the power hookups will be on those two little tabs. So positive onto the positive of the capacitor and the positive of the LED. These two wires are going to the LEDs. I don't know if you guys can see that too nice. But that's a lot neater, and it's going to fold up a lot better. One important thing I forgot to mention, if you're using normal LEDs that don't have the resistors built in, you're gonna have to put in a little resistor on the wire that runs to your LED. So somewhere on here you'll have to put in a little resistor on the positive wire coming from the bridge rectifier going out to your LED strip. I forgot to mention that, sorry about that, guys, I took that for granted. But the LED strips, these strips already have resistors built into them, so they already got 12 volt resistors built into them. Yeah, I just thought I'll mention that.